Believe it or not, it's been 18 years since the last mainline Prime game, and with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond on the way, a refresher on the story sounds better than ever. This goes without saying, but spoilers for the Prime saga, make sure to play these games which have held up very well today. Samus has accomplished a lot in the span of 5 games, so let's get into the history of her exploits. The story begins with Metroid Prime. Like many of her missions, Samus responds to a distress signal which brings her to a derelict ship orbiting the planet Talon 4. Aboard the ship, Samus fights her way through a garrison of weakened space pirates, as well as a parasite queen, which then triggers the ship to crash onto the surface of Talon 4. While fleeing the ship, Samus loses her abilities, as she always does, get used to it, then finds her longtime nemesis, Ridley. Ridley flees the ship and flies to the surface of Talon 4, and Samus follows shortly after. Samus thoroughly explores Talon 4, uncovering the history of the rise and fall of the ancient Chozo race who once ruled the planet, as well as learning much about the space pirates' base of operations and plans. Starting with the former, the Chozo colonized Talon 4, creating a prosperous colony, though this prosperity would unfortunately not last for long. A meteor crashed onto Talon 4, bringing with it a radioactive element named Phazon. Remember Phazon and this meteor, by the way, they are super important for the entire Prime storyline. Dubbed the Great Poison by the Chozo, Phazon corrupted the planet's ecosystem and even the Chozo themselves, destroying the Chozo society on Talon 4. Before their society fell, however, the Chozo locked away the crashed meteor, the source of the planet's corruption, via an ancient temple, also housing the titular Metroid Prime. While they were never able to recover from the planet's corruption, the Chozo prophesied that the Entrusted One would arrive and rid the planet of its evil, and that Entrusted One was coming. Now looking at the space pirates' plans, the surviving pirates of planet Zebes from the events of Metroid 1 came to Talon 4 to perform various experiments. They brought with them the surviving Metroids, using Phazon to experiment on them, as well as Talon 4's local bioforms, and even on their fellow space pirates. This resulted in the creation of various enhanced enemies of all the aforementioned experiments, most notably the Elite Pirates and the Omega Pirate, who was juiced to all hell on Phazon. All these experiments were in hopes of creating a powerful army to dominate the galaxy, but Samus makes damn sure that doesn't happen. Samus regains her lost abilities and finds new ones on her journey, and destroys all space pirate operations as well as combating corrupted wildlife on Talon 4. With the space pirates dealt with, Samus finds 12 Chozo artifacts serving as keys to the previously mentioned ancient temple, which then unlocks access to the impact crater where Metroid Prime itself resides. Right before she heads into the crater though, Ridley attacks Samus, and with a banger of a boss theme at that. She makes short work of him, never to be seen again. Yeah, that's not true. Finally, Samus enters the impact crater, fighting her way to Metroid Prime. Metroid Prime puts up a fight, but is also defeated by Samus. Its death triggers a critical overload, and Samus reaches her ship just in time, escaping the planet. Samus flies off and it's a mission success, though prior to Metroid Prime's death, it absorbed Samus's Phazon suit, combining its own Metroid DNA with that of Samus, along with Phazon, creating Dark Samus, the living legacy of Metroid Prime that would hunt Samus in the near future. The next chapter of the Prime saga takes us to Metroid Prime Hunters. The Galactic Federation sends Samus to the Alembic Cluster to investigate a mysterious telepathic message, which attracts the attention of multiple hunters throughout the galaxy. The most important of these hunters is Sylix, who will become a major player in Metroid Prime 4. The message in question promises these hunters the secret to an ultimate power residing in the Alembic Cluster. Samus explores 4 primary locations in the cluster, just trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, all the hunters are at each other's throats, with some even challenging Samus herself. Samus and the hunters then discover that this signal is actually bait created by the malevolent being Gorilla, with the intention of tricking those it lured into freeing it from its long captivity. You see, similar to the Chozo in Metroid Prime, the Olympic Cluster was once ruled by a powerful race known as the Olympics. Then Gorilla crash-landed on the planet Alinos located in the cluster, devastating the Olympic race. Just before extinction, however, the Olympics trapped Gorilla using the Seal Sphere, putting it in the ship the Oubliette and sending it into another dimension. Gorilla finally attempts to escape using its trap, though once again, Samus ensures that doesn't happen. Gorilla absorbs the powers of all the hunters, even becoming impervious to all weapons fire at one point. Yet Samus still defeats Gorilla thanks in huge part to the deadly Omega Cannon. Samus and the hunters then escape, resulting in another mission success for Samus. The next game in the story is Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Echoes take Samus to the planet Aether after contact with Galactic Federation Squad Bravo was lost. After a turbulent crash landing, Samus soon discovers that Squad Bravo was decimated by an alien race known as the Ing. She's also attacked by Dark Samus in what is the first of many to come in the series. Shortly after, Samus makes contact with yet another ancient race, the Luminoth. The Luminoth are on the brink of extinction and inform Samus of the mystery surrounding Aether. The Luminoth lived in peace on Aether until a meteorite crashed on the planet, carrying the radioactive phazon akin to the meteorite that crashed on Talon 4 in Metroid Prime. The meteorite split the planet into two parallel dimensions, Aether and Dark Aether, with the Ing residing on the latter. The Ing fought a long war against the Luminoth for decades, stealing nearly all of Aether's planetary energy and pushing the Luminoth to the thin and few numbers Samus encounters. Samus is warned that the Ing may attack human worlds once they eradicate the Luminoth, and she agrees to take the fight to the Ing to save the Luminoth and humanity. Samus travels across Aether and Dark Aether via portals found throughout both worlds, combating multiple powerful Ing beings, Dark Samus a couple of times, and reclaims the stolen planetary energy for Aether and the Luminoth. Samus's journey eventually brings her to the leader of the Ing, Emperor Ing, the strongest of them all, who has been heavily mutated by Phazon. After a long fight, Samus defeats Emperor Ing, taking the last of the stolen planetary energy, which causes Dark Aether to collapse on itself. Just before Samus can escape the dimension though, good old Dark Samus blocks her path, still wanting to settle their score. Samus defeats Dark Samus in an intense final fight, and Dark Samus hauntingly fades away while reaching out as a final plea. Samus then escapes the Dark Dimension just in time, returning the planetary energy and lost technology to the Luminoth, and Metroid Prime 2 ends in an optimistic light. Unlike the Chozo, it wasn't too late to save the Luminoth, and they continue to live in peace, grateful for Samus's efforts. Fast forward 6 months after the events of Echoes, we arrive at Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Samus rendezvous with the Galactic Federation on the ship the GFS Olympus alongside 3 other bounty hunters, Gore, Rundus, and Gandrada. Their initial mission quickly changes when space pirates attack the nearby planet Norian, and with them comes crashing a familiar-looking meteor, the same kind of phazon-carrying meteor from Metroid Primes 1 and 2. These are now classified as Leviathans, and if you thought they had a huge impact before, well, both figuratively and literally, now they play a huge role in this game. But more on that soon. Samus and the other hunters are tasked with activating the planet's defense cannon, but are attacked by Ridley and, get this, Dark Samus yet again. Quick interlude. You see, between Metroid Prime 2 and 3, the space pirates took plenty of phazon for themselves from planet Aether, and bear with me, they also took the bit of phazon that contained Dark Samus's particles after her death. So then, somehow Dark Samus manifested a new physical form, restarting her hunt for Samus. This led to Dark Samus combating the hunters, rendering all but Samus unconscious. Samus does manage to activate the defenses and halt the attack, though succumbs to her weakened state and goes unconscious. Samus wakes up from a coma 1 month later, being told that her body is now self-producing Phazon thanks to a Phazon seed planted in her body by Dark Samus. This most definitely would have killed her if not for Galactic Federation scientists adding a Phazon enhancement device into her suit, allowing her to somewhat control the Phazon in her body. After readjusting to her new suit, Samus meets with an Aurora Unit supercomputer, who informs her that the 3 other hunters were sent to 3 separate planets where even more Leviathans were detected. Bad news though, contact with all hunters has been lost. Samus is then given her next mission, which is the bulk of Metroid Prime 3. Find the missing hunters and destroy the Leviathans. Yeah, Prime 3 steps it up from 1 and 2, going from 1 Leviathan each to multiple in one game. Samus travels to the planets Brio, Elysia, and the Space Pirate homeworld, and yes, that's the actual name unless you're Spanish or Japanese. On every planet, she discovers the unfortunate truth that the missing hunters are in fact all corrupted by Phazon, and Samus has no choice but to take them down. Upon each hunter's demise, Dark Samus appears and ominously absorbs the Phazon from their bodies. Samus also fights her way through each planet as she does in usual Prime style, and eventually makes her way to each planet's Leviathan. Samus destroys the seeds thanks in huge part to her suit, which lets her go into a state known as Hyper Mode. What is Hyper Mode? A state that pretty much lets her go into God Mode using the Phazon in her body. In destroying these seeds though, she progresses the growth of the Phazon seed in her body, furthering her corruption. Out of all of the planets, the pirate homeworld was especially daunting, as the corruption had spread so much that the planet itself had become unstable. Furthermore, the planet's shield provided strong defenses to the space pirates, though Samus for once was thankfully not alone. Galactic Federation Admiral Dane contacts Samus, informing her he's spearheading an invasion of the homeworld, and Samus would lead the ground assault. Samus disables the planet's shield, the troops deploy, and deal a massive blow to the space pirates who've done nothing but wreak havoc on the galaxy. Man, this was so cool! Samus fights her way to the seed, which is defended by Ridley himself to add even more to the mission's difficulty. Samus yet again takes Ridley down, destroys the seed, and her corruption gets dangerously close to consuming her. After a successful assault, another Aurora unit that Samus cured on Elysia discovers planet Phase, the origins of the radioactive Phazon. Thankfully, the space pirates have a ship that can get through a wormhole to the planet, which Samus and a Federation fleet travel through, marking the beginning of the end. Samus touches down, absorbing the planet's Phazon to its most dangerous level yet, but she perseveres ahead to the final showdown. Samus encounters Dark Samus, who fuses with a corrupted Aurora unit in a really cool nod to Mother Brain, kicking off the final battle. Samus comes out on top, killing Dark Samus once and for all. I swear, if she's somehow back in Prime 4, anyway, with Dark Samus gone, the Phazon seed in Samus is also destroyed, freeing her from her own corruption. Samus and the Galactic Federation make a harrowing escape after Phase self-destructs, and that's yet another mission complete for Samus Aran. As Samus flies off to seek her next mission, a ship appears from a distance and begins to tail Samus. The pilot of the ship is none other than Sylix. Remember him from Prime Hunters? Make sure you do, cause he's more important now than ever. Metroid Prime Federation Force is the final entry in Prime's story, and it honestly doesn't progress the story all that much, so this is more of an epilogue. A team of elite Galactic Federation soldiers, known as the Federation Force, embark on several missions against the space pirates who, though were hit hard in Prime 3, still pose a threat to the galaxy. Working in conjunction with Samus, the Federation Force thwart the space pirate plan to build a massive battleship, then they even fight against a captured Samus who loses control of her suit, and take down the AI supercomputer Master Brain, the power source of the space pirate battleship. Then, most importantly, the Federation Force recovers a Metroid egg, bringing it to a secret Federation facility, which clearly isn't secret enough since a mysterious intruder breaks into the facility, beaming a laser onto the egg which causes it to hatch. This mysterious figure? Yeah, it's Sylix, now with an army of Metroids by his side. And that brings us to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We don't know much about the game's story, just that Samus is back fighting space pirates, Metroids, and local wildlife, all while uncovering the secrets of an ancient civilization that now need assistance from the famed bounty hunter. The long-lasting cliffhanger from Corruption will now hopefully be resolved, Sylix will take center stage, and Metroid Prime 4 is innovating on the beloved Metroid Prime formula. We'll have to wait a little bit longer to see how Prime 4 progresses the story, as well as if it can live up to the years-long hype. Speaking of which, now that you're caught up to speed on the story of the Metroid Prime saga, I actually made a video on why Prime 4's success is essential, so if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check that other one out. Anyhow, that's gonna wrap it up here. I'm Bilal with Game Rant, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you for more Metroid Prime and beyond.